It's just about living a life that you don't regret because it is yours. So you should live the one you want without fear or influence. And it's okay to make compromises. I'm not saying that you never make a compromise. But if you are wanting to do this and also this, then you decide which one you're going to regret the least.
Right.
And you do that.
Right.
And so if that means you're going to keep working because it's a job that you love, well, maybe you just don't like the people you work with and you can move to a different department.
Yeah.
Microshift.
Welcome to the That's Where I'm At podcast. I'm Laura, happily divorced after spending years with a narcissist. I believe keeping secrets will make you sick and that they always come to light in the end. As women, we're often told to be quiet, don't share your story, don't talk about the things we go through. It's making women sick, sad, and suicidal. We don't have to be on the other side to share our story. This show is for the women still in the middle of the mess, but showing up bravely as they heal. It's time to share these stories with each other so we can learn, grow, and heal together. I'm Laura, and that's where I'm at. Please take note that this episode may contain subjects that may be triggering to certain listeners. Please take care when listening today.
Hi, guys, and welcome back to the That's Where I'm At podcast. Today I have Jay. Jay knows when life sucks. To feel trapped in the wrong relationship due to circumstances, guilt, doubt, that it seems impossible to find a way out, while knowing that this wasn't the life she deserved. After surviving an unexpected attempt on her life, she began living without regret, created the unknown bucket list approach, and as a certified life transformation empowerment coach is on a mission to teach others how to stop tolerating their life and start living, because life is short. Hi, Jay. Welcome.
Hi, Laura. Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad you're here. I really liked your talk title. Shift happens.
Shift happens. Well, shift happens. Life comes at us good and bad, and well, then we have to shift, or sometimes it's just shit happens.
That's right. So what were you doing before you decided, you know what, I want to be a coach and help people that have been through things like I have?
So my backstory is that there was a point in time where I felt trapped in the wrong relationship and the wrong job. And I was in the wrong relationship because if he had asked me to marry him, I would have said no. So clearly that's a sign.
Right.
But I was also trapped at the wrong job because I was the only one financially responsible in the relationship.
Okay.
And finally, I reached a point where I was like, I've got to get out of this, even though I felt like I was, stuck in the washing machine on like agitate.
Yes.
And then I realized, oh, well, I'll just pay for him to go away. I didn't want to kick him out because I felt guilty, like we had spent a number of years together, living together. And I mean, you just kick a human being out on the street, like, but no, this ship is going down and I don't want to be on it anymore. So I paid for him to go away and go live with his family, which was over 1,000 miles away.
I'm glad you clarified what you meant by you paid for him to go away rather than you called people.
No, I made arrangements.
For him to leave.
Yeah. That's funny considering where this is going.
Yes, exactly. Jeez. Oh my goodness.
So I convinced myself, I had the balls to get out of the relationship. Mm-hmm. And then I convinced myself the job that I had been complaining about that I hated, that I was just going to suck it up and tolerate it because I didn't actually know what I wanted to do with my life. I was free at that point. I could have moved. I could have quit the job. Literally could have done anything because I was only responsible for myself.
Okay.
And I did nothing. I sent him away, and then I kept the job and was just like, whatever. I'll just keep it until I figure out what I want. Unfortunately, my inaction almost cost my life because 2 months later, there was a knock at my door, and there's the boy who has now driven over 1,000 miles. And the night ended with his arrest for attempted murder.
Oh my gosh.
That being my attempted murder.
Oh my gosh.
So it was, it was a wake-up call.
Yeah.
I had started to fix my life, and then I quit because I didn't know what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I took it as like a second chance. And this is, you started to fix your life to where you would be living a happier life and one that you wanted. And you just stopped. You solved half the problem and stopped. So at that point, it didn't matter that I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had to do something because life is short. And even though that's a cliche saying, it's true.
Yeah.
So how I started making progress in my life, in making my life supersized out of mini moments, was I looked back at my past to remember what used to bring me joy and forgotten passions and skills, and kind of guide myself by leveraging that, guide myself into finding a new career and finding a new place to live and just things that made me happy.
Right.
Because we all deserve to live a life that we don't regret. And we only have one.
Yeah.
So it might as well be the best one we can make of it, and not stay imprisoned by our means or our circumstances or our guilts or our doubts. And your listeners maybe can't relate exactly to my story, but life happens.
Yeah.
And it's good or bad. It's unexpected, random, unplanned. And it could come in the form of terminal illness or a loss or some other tragedy or something that just like punches us right in the face.
Yeah.
And then we have to react. And that's what shift happens.
Right.
Because then we do have to shift. And it's what I'm really passionate about is we don't have to wait for that shift to happen before we start living the life that we don't regret.
Right. And when you're talking about mini moments, because sometimes I think, so are we doing it in mini chunks? Because sometimes, well, I didn't have a choice, right? I got a divorce. So it's like, whoo, big old shift in my life, right? And then you had an attempt on your life. And so it was a really big wake up call. But you're right. The listeners might not have those two big things, right? They might be saying, I'm so like, this is not the life I want. Life sucks.
It sucks.
Like you said, right? Life sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. So how do we start making some changes that we don't have to like turn our entire world upside down, but we can start with something?
Well, and it's the reason it's mini moments is because you don't just, yes, you had something massive happen and I had something massive happen, but to get out of and survive and get past those massive changes, we had to do little steps, one step at a time.
Yes.
It wasn't, oh, this happened and now suddenly everything is, yes, life was drastically different, but how we got our life back was one step at a time. And you can look back on your life and I mean, how many times have you done something and then you didn't give yourself enough credit for it?
Right.
We all do that.
Yeah.
And so you can look back at your life and you can start seeing all the things that you've done and that you've experienced. And you can basically uncover the bucket list of your life that you've been living. You just haven't been looking at it from a certain perspective because you just dismiss it as insignificant.
Right.
And life is full of those little mini moments. And it's just, you don't give yourself enough credit. And what you can do is collect those little moments. And then once your life is shifted, once you start thinking that way, then as life is coming at you, unexpected, unplanned, random, but you can know how to react to it. You can intentionally decide, I want this. I don't want that. I'm going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And you start, it's almost like I say supersize your life because you can leverage your past achievements to create bigger dreams and move yourself forward. And at the same time, you're still collecting all these mini moments as the day goes on. And so it just like supersizes your life.
I love it.
God, you're so crazy. Do you hear yourself? You're delusional. You are so confusing. I don't understand what you're even telling me. If you've ever second guessed yourself, replayed conversations like that on a loop, or Googled, "Am I the problem?" at 2 a.m., you may have been in a relationship with a narcissist. Gaslighting is a narcissist's favorite tool. They distort reality to make you question your sanity, all so they can avoid responsibility and paint you as the problem. And I can totally relate. I spent 33 years with someone who made me feel like I was the problem for everything that was wrong in our lives. My new ebook, "You're Not Crazy: Reclaiming Your Sanity and Self-Worth After Narcissistic Abuse," is your no-fluff, eye-opening survival guide to healing and rising after being gaslit by a narcissist. Get the validation and clarity you didn't realize you were missing, but completely deserve. Check out the show notes for the link to change your mindset today. And remember, you're not crazy. You were just being gaslit.
I like that idea of really looking at our life and saying, I'm going to keep this and I don't want to keep this other thing. There were some things I was doing in my business and I was like, I hate doing them. And I was like, here's an idea. There's some things I actually don't have to do. I don't have to do them. These are things I can delegate, stuff like that. And I don't know why, but it took somebody saying, I was in a business meeting and they were like, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. And I was like, really? Like we're allowed to do those things. So do you find it's very easy for people to sit there and say, I don't want to do this anymore? Because sometimes we have outside influences that are saying, well, you have to do that. You have to, whatever. I don't remember what I was watching. Could have been a TV show, so it was TV, but I remember somebody saying, I'm going to bring cupcakes to school. And they're like, well, a good mom would hand make them. And I'm thinking, no, kids don't care. And that was so manipulative to me. It felt like I was like, right away. You know what I mean? So I know we have outside influences sometimes. How can we cut through that noise?
One of the things that we cover in the unknown bucket list approach is how to deal with fear. And for the biggest fear that people have is exactly what you were just talking about. And that's fear of judgment.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, if we don't do this, they're going to think less of me, or they're going to judge me in some form or fashion. And that usually it comes from colleagues, friends, family, the people that are supposed to be supporting us.
Yeah.
And we're afraid to be our genuine selves because we're fearing judgment from them. But you develop a way to redefine fear.
Okay.
And it's a shifting of thinking, and you can approach the people who, it's just a way of kindly telling them to F off.
I love that. Well, it's something I really try to help women with. It's like, really, your voice is so important, but it takes work, right? We have to love ourselves enough to maybe not say F off, but to say like, no, I'm not doing that. That's not what I want to do. I'm buying cupcakes, not making them. Those kinds of things, or whatever.
Exactly.
Or whatever it is.
And we're taught as adults that we have to suck it up and tolerate so many things. And it's just like, okay, so apparently I have to suck it up and tolerate it. And I have to make these cupcakes from scratch.
Yeah.
No, says who?
Not to mention the people who are telling you are really miserable themselves, because they're also probably tolerating their life. It's not like, you got to remember like who is giving you advice, right? And try and understand, like, what's their life like? Do they seem stressed out? Do they have a successful life? Do you even admire them, or are they just pressuring you? Because that's what I have learned. I've had so many good friends, because I want to be like healed right this second. I need to be healed. And they just were like, hey, give yourself some grace. Slow down. I'm like, but I need to be healed. Everybody's got to think I'm so great or whatever. And they were just like, you're good.
It's micro shifts. You can't do anything. You can't become an Olympic gold medalist.
Right.
Like this.
Right. But I wanted it yesterday. Well, because I walked out of my marriage thinking, I got rid of the problem. And so and so, right, you think everything's just going to be sunshine and roses after that, but it wasn't. And so that was it was just, that part has sucked, having to unravel all the years and and heal from that. So I really appreciated those people who were like, slow down.
Yeah.
And then there were days where I just literally just got out of bed and I got dressed and I went to the mirror and said, great job. You're out of bed. And that felt really good because it was one step. It was one step better than yesterday, even though then maybe the next day I was back in bed. It doesn't matter. It was one step forward. Even if it's 2 steps back, that's okay.
It's okay. And what you did is a mini moment. Yeah. And most people would not even give themselves credit for doing that.
Yeah.
But that's where you were, and that's the step that you needed to do to heal. And then once you were able to get a little bit further past that, then you did. But those are the little mini moments that I'm talking about.
Yes.
Just little things that, we don't give ourselves enough credit for or whatever. And you can stack those once you start collecting them, like once you've identified the ones from your past and you start collecting them as you move forward, then you stack them up and you can use that to go bigger, to go better.
That's amazing.
Are you feeling trapped in a relationship that leaves you questioning your worth and sanity? Have you noticed the red flags and decided you can't live one more day in a toxic environment? Whether you've just left or are considering leaving a narcissistic partner, the book, Married to a Nice Guy, Getting Over Narcissistic Abuse is here to guide and support you. In this candid memoir, I share my 33-year struggle in a marriage to a nice guy that was marked by emotional manipulation and abuse, revealing how I broke free and reclaimed my life. If you've been waiting for a sign, this book is it. If you've ever felt isolated, confused, or hopeless in your relationship, Married to a Nice Guy, Getting Over Narcissistic Abuse offers the understanding and guidance you need to break free and start your journey to healing. You are not alone, and you deserve a life filled with love, respect, and happiness. Order your copy today and take the first step towards reclaiming your life.
And even those things like say at work, you said no to an extra project or something, right? And I just think about those little things where it's like, I remember when I wanted to learn how to set boundaries because I didn't know what that was because I was a people pleaser and you got to say yes to everything. And I didn't know what that meant. I thought boundaries was telling people what to do, right? When boundaries are really what we're going to do and what our decisions are. And I just remember the first time I was like, no, I don't think I can do that or I can't go. I was so proud of myself. And it's those little things like that, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Well, that it's shifting us. And I'm just trying to understand for sure, but shifting us towards my goal was to be a person who has healthy boundaries. And so every little boundary I set then created this person that now it's like, yes, I have very clear boundaries now. They are clear.
Yes. So you have what I call is a force field of resilience.
Okay.
So that's something that we work towards in a non-bucket list approach. And so you have set your boundaries. So your boundaries are out here. Okay. And when you feel the world pushing in on you, you can be like, oh yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. But you know what? Nope.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you don't let it ruin your day. You don't let it tank your mood. You just be like, yeah, no, I know how to deal with this.
Right.
Not dealing with, no, you're not worth my energy.
Right.
You're not going to suck my energy away today.
So who are the people that are coming to you? What kind of state are they in when they finally give you a call or reach out to you?
They feel life is passing them by while they're sitting on the sidelines, but they don't know. They're like how I was, where I didn't even know where to begin. I didn't know how to begin to make change. And I honestly thought there's a lot of things that I didn't think I could do because I didn't have the means or I didn't have the right support. And it's just a matter of shifting slightly, a little bit at a time, shifting perspective. And as life comes at you, good or bad, then there's a way to look at it that just keeps you moving forward and keeps you on a path of living a life that you don't regret. Mm-hmm. And it's once your way of thinking has been shifted, you'll never go back.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely how I feel. I was talking to someone earlier and talking about how I have been saying some things. I often say that I don't gatekeep what narcissists do. I feel like I cracked a code. And like, I know all their tricks and I'm going to tell everybody. It's like, it was a secret and it's not now anymore. But I don't have any anxiety when I say that, because I used to have such anxiety from that. But when I'm living my true life, you know what I mean? It's like when you're really, but it took a lot of work to get there. Look, this didn't happen overnight. No. It doesn't happen overnight.
Microshifts.
Right. And that's what I was just about to say. I love that you talk about that, because people see like the end product or something, right? We see the highlight reel on social media, right? We see the highlight reel. Oh, look at me. Now I've, written a book, or look at me. Now I have a business. But it's like, do you know what it took to get here? I don't think we talk about that enough. So I'm glad that you're talking about just do those little changes to get you where you want to be.
It is. And it's whether you need an entire life overhaul or whether you're really good in most of what you may have almost exactly what you want in your life.
Yeah.
But there's just this one little spot over here. So it really applies to anybody.
Okay.
And it's just about living a life that you don't regret, because it is yours. So you should live the one you want without fear or influence. And it's okay to make compromises. I'm not saying that you never make a compromise. But if you are wanting to do this and also this, then you decide which one you're going to regret the least.
Right.
And you do that.
Right.
And so if that means you're going to keep working because it's a job that you love, well, maybe you just don't like the people you work with and you can move to a different department.
Yeah.
Microshift.
As we go through life and we do the quote unquote right things, right? Like you go to college and you do this and you get the job. And then you look back, you look forward 25 years and you go, my life sucks, but I did all the right things.
Yeah.
So that might be a good time to call you. and go, where can I make some changes?
Yeah. And you nailed it when you said it's not easy, because it's not easy.
No.
And it's kind of going against the grain of, wait, I get to put myself first, but I'm supposed to take care of everybody else. Right. And I don't have a say-so in my own life. No, I need to people please, like what you said.
Yeah.
And no, you don't have to. Yes. You can put yourself first and still have an amazingly wonderful life with family and friends and everything. But
yeah, that's amazing. What's one more thing, if there is anything, that you would like to share with the audience before we say goodbye today?
I like to tell people to live like life is short and live like life is long. And it's about finding the balance in between, because we never know when our last day is actually going to come.
Yeah.
And no matter when that happens, we will always want more time with our family or our friends, our loved ones, our pets, anybody that we love. We will always want more. There's nothing we can do about that. Right. But you're never going to want more time to do the things if you've already been living a life of doing the things.
Yeah. And I would imagine that it's never too late to come talk to you.
Oh, never. Never, never, never. It's definitely never too late to.
Okay, good.
No.
There is no expiration date. Just if you're not dead, you're not done. I say that all the time. If you're not dead, you're not done.
I love that. If you're not dead, you're not done. That's perfect.
I say it all the time. I don't know where I heard it, but I heard it from somebody. I'm like, that's the best thing I've ever heard.
Because do you have it on a t-shirt?
You should. I guess I should.
You should.
I guess I should. Where can everyone get a hold of you if they want to work with you?
I'm on the social media platforms as the Unknown Bucket List. So you Insta, Facebook, and J Lumen as LinkedIn. If they want, they can find me on. I have a self-assessment that's free. That's in a link on my Instagram and also my Facebook platform and the LinkedIn. And it's the free assessment really is just if anybody needs some help, kind of starting to get their mind thinking about what they've overlooked in their past. And and then there's a way to connect further beyond that.
Okay, and I'll put everything in the show notes so that they can get a hold of you if they want to. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Thanks for laughing with me.
Well, thanks for having me. And I mean, laughing is the best. So if I can laugh, in fact, the job that I hated.
What?
The reason the final nail in the coffin that day was they called a staff meeting about me because they told me I could no longer laugh at work.
Oh my God. I would have started laughing harder.
Well, I didn't exactly laugh. I said a few choice words.
That
and left.
I was going to say, that's so like gaslighty, manipulative. It's so toxic. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But now I laugh about it because I'm like, really, you guys, I had to quit a job because they told me I couldn't laugh at work anymore. You know.
Yeah. You know, when I first started talking about all this stuff, I wasn't laughing. I was trying to be all serious. And my friend was like, what's going on? Like, that's not you. And you know what? The thing is that sometimes you really can't believe the shit that's happened in your life. And so you kind of have to laugh about it because then you can commiserate with other people like you. And then we can learn from each other. And then we can make better lives for ourselves. And that's all I want. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, life is serious, but really it's not that serious.
Right. Exactly. Well, it doesn't have to be serious all the time, for Pete's sakes.
No. And that wouldn't be any fun.
No. Well, I'm glad you didn't stop laughing. So that's really good. Well,
I laughed my ass out the door.
That's right. Well, thank you so much for being here. And guys, thanks for listening today. And please go on Apple and Spotify and tell Podcast Land that you love us. And of course, reach out to Jay. Everything will be in the show notes so you can reach out to her and start working with her because shift happens. You know how that goes. So Jay, thanks a lot for being here. And everybody remember, your voice matters. Thanks for being here. Bye.
Thanks, Laura.
Thank you for joining me today on the That's Where I'm At podcast. Did the story today resonate with you? Do you think others would benefit from hearing the stories we are telling? Please go to Apple or Spotify right now to leave a review so everyone in podcast land will know you love the show. We want to continue sharing stories of hope and healing. I'll be back next time. I'll talk to you then.